Hello, welcome in. My name is Gino, and this is Gino's Best Movie Reviews. Today, I'm going to review Deadpool and Wolverine, the newest Marvel movie and the only one coming out in 2024. So, this movie is starring Ryan Reynolds, obviously, and Hugh Jackman as Deadpool and Wolverine, directed by Shawn Levy. I'd like to go in and discuss the reviews first. So, 364 reviews on the tomato meter for critics is at a 79%. So, about 8 out of every 10 people gave it a thumbs up compared to a thumbs down. Remember, that's how the tomato meter works. And the audience score, 96%. So, 96 people out of 100 gave it a thumbs up instead of a thumbs down. So, what that means is the movie 9 out of 10 quality or 8 out of 10 quality? Not necessarily. That's not what the tomato meter means. What it means is about 8 to 9, about 8 of 10 critics gave it a thumbs up, and then 96 out of 100 audience members who have have seen the movie, so over 10,000 verified ratings, gave it a thumbs up. All right. So, what did I think? But with a movie like this, it's important to not let your expectations dictate how you feel about the movie. If you go into this movie, and there will be spoilers in this review, of course. If you go into this movie expecting Batman and John Wick and people from different IP properties that Marvel and Disney don't have access to show up and all this stuff, right, you're setting yourself up for failure. There are more realistic expectations that one can have going into this movie, seeing X-Men characters, seeing Disney, Marvel characters, those types of things, for sure. But remember, you need to check all of that at the door. If you expect something to happen and it doesn't happen, guess what? Your experience is lowered because of your expectations. If you expect, you don't get to experience. The reality of the situation then becomes different. So, I came into this movie with expectations that I would see XYZ characters, all these types of things, whether it did or did not happen, we'll get into. The only thing that I didn't check at the door as far as my expectations were that it was going to be funny. I expected it to be funny, and I was not going to let that go. If the movie was not funny, that would have ruined my experience of the movie, for sure. And then the second time you go and see it, you can go in and now you don't. Now you're not waiting for things to happen. Now you know what the movie is, and you get to experience it again. So I went for the 3:00 showing fan engagement event where I got the popcorn bucket, which I still haven't assembled yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to sell it or not, and a keychain that has Deadpool kind of like sitting in a sultry pose. So we go into the movie. First thing that's addressed is, well, how is this going to how are they going to honor Logan, the movie, which I think is a top 3, maybe a top 2 comic book movie ever made? How are they going to do it without dishonoring that movie? And they kind of addressed that right in the bat. And it was funny. I like how the Deadpool movies like to do something and then be like, whoa, let's take you back. Right? It felt very much like the first one in that regard. So we see him with the Logan version of Wolverine. Obviously, with his joke, he was like, I'm not a man of science, but you seem incredibly passed away. That was hilarious. That's probably one of the first jokes that got audible laughter in both of the screenings that I went to on opening night. He makes joke after joke after joke, and it felt effortless to me. Some of the things you needed to know outside information for, like when he makes there's 206 bones in the human body, 207 when I'm watching Gossip Girl. It's funny on its own, but if you know that Ryan Reynolds' wife was on Gossip Girl, then it becomes even funnier, right? So things like that, where you have pre-existing knowledge of movie news, announcements, acting, casting, things like that, you really get the full enjoyment of this movie. The opening credits scene has been living rent free in my head and all over my YouTube feed when I open up YouTube. Him dancing to Bye 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 and destroying all of the TVA agents with Wolverine's adamantium bones. I thought that was hilarious. It, we've seen it a bunch of times, because people are filming it from the theater and what have you. I don't really like having seen something that feels like it was filmed if it was released officially for Marvel. But either way, watching the actor do the dancing, right, it felt very fun. Now, I hadn't seen the NSYNC music video leading into that, so I didn't know, whatever. But it felt like he was doing the music video accurate moves to the song, and that was awesome. He would. It was funny the way he was fighting people, funny the way he was killing people, whether shoving the bone in somebody's crotch or having his claws stuck in people. It was funny. It was adult humor. It was all of the things that I know I would find funny, right? You could argue that it was homoerotic in nature, which was not a problem. That made it even funnier. Deadpool in the comics is like all sexual, so it doesn't matter if you're guy, girl, whatever. If you're a beast, if you're a spider mutate, doesn't matter. He is a sexual being in that regard. So I thought that was funny and very comic accurate. Then we go into more of the story. How did he get there? Right? All the setup you see from the TVA. He's making jokes. And probably the funniest joke in the whole movie for me. I didn't even really catch it the first time. So the second time, it was even funnier to me. And I started laughing in my second screening a little earlier than everybody because I knew what was coming. So maybe that ruined other people's experiences. I apologize if you were one of those people. Him running over, him making it's Marvel at it. It's almost cinematic in nature. And he goes over the camera. F you, Fox. I'm going to, and he grabs the microphone from off camera. I'm going to Disneyland. Headbutts the camera. Hilarious. And then they show all things on screen. He's seeing Captain America, seeing Thor crying over his body. Why is Thor crying? I thought that was a great running gag throughout the movie as well. Even though we never really found out, I half expected the post-credit scene to be finding out, but what they gave us for a post-credit scene was hilarious, and I loved it. So he's like, okay, I'll do it. I'm going to go find Wolverine and save the anchor being, which is a new kind of concept that they introduced in this movie. I don't understand how the world or how a timeline deals with an anchor being before it's born. That's a little nitpicky, though. They needed something to drive the plot. I was fine with that. Some people might argue that shows lack of the storytelling ability and things like that. I had no problem with it. And he cues up a montage of going to see a bunch of different Wolverines and trying to get them. I thought that the comic accurate version of Wolverine, I thought that was very funny and a nod to people that like you really want somebody who's that little to be Wolverine on the big screen. It doesn't really have the same gravitas or screen presence. I watch a lot of John Campea. Shout out to Campea. He's the reason why I've started redoing this again because we need more positivity and fandom. So some of the things that he said really resonated with me. And one of the things he said was, the general moving going audience really views Wolverine as a larger character. They just do. Right. So when they put in the short king joke, I thought it was hilarious. Maybe they could have given a different actor that position, but putting Hugh Jackman's face on that body, if that's what we were getting as Wolverine, it would be hard to take it seriously. It really would. Obviously, they wouldn't be transposing his face, and it would be getting actors for it. Doesn't matter. That was a big hoopla about this no-name guy, and they even kind of addressed it in the post-credit video, which was a little tearjerker. So, or rather, mid-credit. So we do that. We go back and forth, and we see what was definitely not Hugh Jackman from behind, kind of riding a motorcycle. Like his arms almost look bigger, less hairy, or you could tell it was somebody different. And then they jump back to that scene, and it's revealed that it's Henry Cavill as the Cavalrine. Hilarious, wonderful. He even does his Mission Impossible Hancock before he disposes of Deadpool. Thought that was great. Whether or not he's going to be the next Wolverine is irrelevant to me. That was just hilarious and well done. And just like John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, you don't need to be playing the character moving forward for that cameo to really appease the fans. So that a good job. They even made fun of DC a little bit. for not treating Cavill right, even though his movies didn't return the box office that they needed to. But all the horrible management from the old Warner Brothers people, the AT&T Warner Brothers people, the people before Zaslav got in control. And, I'm not here to say Zaslav's doing everything perfect, but people rushing out a Justice League movie to try and get their bonuses in that November. I'll never, ever, 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 ever forgive those people. So moving on from Henry Cavill, we get, he finally comes to the Wolverine that we're going to deal with in the movie. They changed some of the jokes from the trailers and stuff like that. Now, I laughed every time he said "Hi, Peanut" in the trailer, and I kind of wish that was in the movie, but it was something different. Didn't hit the same. And I'll get to how trailers can temper our expectations here in a little bit as we get to some of the cameos. I saw the Super Bowl trailer. I saw the Tyler Mane trailer. If you know who that is, then you do. I saw the second trailer. I didn't watch the final trailer that had that what some people consider a spoiler cameo. Other people consider it's marketing, so it legitimately can't be a spoiler because it's a marketing material. It's now news. Again, something that can't be said, and I agree with to a certain degree. And we'll get to my full opinions on that as we approach that. So he's got Wolverine. He brings him back. He's got the comic accurate suit, right? All those things. We find out that this Wolverine let his world die, and we got that set up, right? So we progress the story, and we end up in the void, right? We end up in the void, and this is something from Loki, but you didn't have to watch the show to understand what was going on, right? They told you all the things you needed to know so you can enjoy the scene, right? Deadpool even goes, Goliath is in this thing from Loki season 1, episode 5. Like, that's hilarious. Like, especially the way he delivered it. Ryan Reynolds is an absolute treasure. We should be happy that we get him for as long as we can get him. So they're in there. They come. You hear stories about you got this guy that they don't reveal who it is, and Ryan Reynolds is like, oh, that's gonna make the fans happy. And you show he's your blue suit, but he's got the tattered robes on, and that's just when Tyler Mane, Sabretooth, Toad, and those folks come to meet up with Deadpool and Wolverine after their first fight. And it's Chris Evans with a beard, right? Kind of looking like Captain America. I felt very much that I knew kind of right away. As soon as they showed him, I was like, that's Johnny Storm. That's not Captain America, right? I don't want to be like, I'm better than everybody else because I noticed it. But in both of my screenings that I went to, I noticed it right away, and I said it right away. The person I was watching it with doesn't know the Fantastic Four and that he was that character. So I told it to him, but he didn't really understand what was going on. And then eventually they got to that reveal. So whatever point in time throughout that reveal that it dawned on you that eventually he was gonna show that he was Johnny Storm, right? It was great payoff. Everybody theoretically was expecting it to be Captain America, especially since we saw him earlier on in recycled footage on the TVA monitors, of course. That was great. And when he swore, when he cursed, that was when most of my theater realized, oh man, that's not Captain America. Right. So that was good. And then, they get captured, get taken back. The camera kind of cuts away when they're talking about Cassandra Nova, and then they come back to that in the end credits, which I thought was hilarious. They get captured. Deadpool kind of gets Johnny killed by admitting what he had said. We didn't see it on camera, so we weren't sure if he's making that up, which made it even funnier. And then instead of killing Deadpool and Wolverine, right, like maybe the villain should have done, she allowed Elias to come and potentially eat them, right? So something happens. They're going to the outskirts, something that Johnny was talking about, a bunch of other people. We find out that they're in this area, and they get most of the cameos kind of come up right here, right? You see Elektra walking in, then the most badass music on the planet plays as Blade walks in, and then you've got Gambit walking in. Oh my God, this is great! This is great! This is great! So I'm gonna pause right here to tell you guys back about the trailer and why I didn't watch the last one, even though I found out who was revealed in the trailer. That it was X-23, right? So I didn't see the trailer, but I knew X-23 was revealed as a cameo, right? So in the movie, and here's where I disagree with Mr. Campia, all due respect, the movie played out like it was supposed to be a surprise. And it played out like it was supposed to be a surprise for the audience, not supposed to be a surprise for Wolverine and Deadpool. If it played out like it was supposed to be a surprise for Wolverine, I would have understood. Like, we know who it is, but he can't see, right? Whatever. But if you're going to reveal that she's in the movie and she's in the trailer, you sure as heck better not act like it's a big reveal in the movie, right? That was like the big reveal. Like, the way they went about it was shadowy figure. Like, don't do that if you're going to put it in the trailer. I know the director doesn't make the trailers, but all the trailers are approved before they're sent out. So it just felt wrong. So I didn't get the enjoyment out of X-23, even though I didn't see the trailer because I knew she was going to eventually be in it, right? So that was a little disappointing. It kind of didn't hit as hard. Now, some people might argue it still hit as hard. That's fine. For me, it didn't. So we went on, and then we had this reveal. You know, they're making fun of Gambit's voice, right? Oh, but all that stuff was hilarious. It was funny. And it's something that's definitely worth rewatches just to figure it out. Who's your dialect coach? The Minions? Hilarious. And there's some stuff, like I said, the jokes you won't be getting. If you didn't know that Ryan Reynolds and Blade were in Blade Trinity, and there was some drama behind the scenes. That's why he's like, I didn't like you. Oh, you never did. So there's layers and layers and layers to this stuff. Channing Tatum was cast as Gambit, was on stage with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman before Disney bought Fox, and then his movie got canceled. So it's a lot of stuff that if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't, right? If you knew that Hugh Jackman was recently divorced, semi-recently, the joke about him getting fat, which they eventually pay off towards the end of the movie, was great. So they get together, they go back to Cassandra Nova, they're starting to fight, an epic action scene, which was a little hard to tell what was going on. There were some parts where you could see exactly what was going on, but it felt, some people say Jason Bourne, it just felt shaky, and it felt like, if you're going to have him here, why are you doing that? Why are you making that decision? Like, it should be relatively simple to see what's going on. It's not that big of a space. Like, I didn't really necessarily like that decision. So they do that. The whole Cassandra Nova stuff happens. They're trying to get Juggernaut's helmet. They get it. They put it on her. You know, she's not playing nice with them, whatever. Eventually she agrees. They're able to get what they need from her. As Goliath is coming, they're able to jump through the portal, which a lot of people speculated that would be bringing them right to the Battle of Endgame, which probably would have been awesome, but at the same time could have taken away a lot of that. And that scene is perfect, so it probably didn't need any extra. So they do that. They go into that. They're having a great time. They go in. And then the movie starts to, you know, have it's emotional beats, right? Some things here, some things there. Fast forward to trying to deal with what's going on with the TVA, right? There's some type of time ripper that Cassandra Nova now has access to, and Wolverine and or Deadpool have to go down and stop it, but they're gonna die. Turns out they use their combined power, very similar to the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm sure that was a semi callback to that. And when the power bursts, you know, they're both holding hands and clawed in, and Wolverine's shirt rips off, and he's got his abs out, and Deadpool's like, and all that stuff, hilarious, and obviously pays off from the joke that he got fat, right? Because he's in this suit. But before we got to there, I skipped ahead a little bit. There was that epic interaction with Nice Pool and the world's ugliest dog in Britain, and all of those types of things that kind of set up that there would be more Deadpools to come along. And the scene you see from the trailer where they're walking around the corner to Madonna playing. I thought that that was the perfect song to be using. So when they used it again in the movie, I thought that that was wonderful, really well done, made me happy. A couple of my buddies listen to the soundtrack all on repeat because of how awesome the songs were that they chose. Ryan really wanted his golden guns, which they showed in the X-23 trailer, but I didn't see the trailer, so thankfully I didn't know that his golden guns reveal. All I have to remember him is by these golden pistols. After he sacrifices Nice Pool, I thought he was doing it for the dog, so that's why the pistols thing caught me off guard. And then you see Lady Deadpool walking out. Believe that Blake Lively was credited as that, but it's probably just the voice. I don't know if she's in the suit, but tell you what, looked phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Every screening, you could hear the oohs and the ahs. Then you've got like Welsh Pool and Kid Pool and Baby Pool and all this stuff. And it was just a blood-soaked action scene. Really well done. Hugh Jackman pulls up his mask. It's epic. It's awesome. They never revealed that in the trailers, but they did reveal it in some toy marketing promotion. So I thought that that was really strange that they would do that, but keep it from the trailer, but then show X-23 in the trailer. But I get it. You got to those third and final trailers, even if it's a week away. I didn't like it, but it's not a trailer for me. Either way, I thought it was a spoiler, all in all, because of how it ended up playing out in the movie. If it played out differently, maybe I wouldn't have thought of it as a spoiler as much. So they off all those Deadpools, and they're really happy about it. And then it turns out that they all can regenerate, unlike Nice Pool, and come back. And then they've got Peter comes to kind of save the day, and everybody's got a Peter, and then he's like, "Oh, I enjoy my Peter," and he runs off. And that's when they go to that TVA scene in the final battle, where it's not even really a final battle; it's more of a final action set piece. And they're presumed dead, and then they come around, they're alive. All the girls are swooning over Hugh Jackman's abs, of course, and I just thought it was really well done. I had a great time from start to finish. I'm so glad I booked 2 screenings back to back. That's something I definitely can be very risky. But if you're going with different people and stuff like that, it can usually lead to something a little bit better. But I had a lovely time. It's hilarious. 10 out of 10 as far as funny and enjoyment and smile on my face, the feeling I was feeling, the hoorah type of action, and did a really, really, really good job. Some people say the story is lacking. I can see where people are coming from with that. I felt that the story gave us exactly what we needed to progress the plot. And again, if you were expecting, X-Man to kills the Marvel universe, or Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, then you're probably going to be disappointed. If you're following these rumors and expectations, and you're thinking you're going to get what you're going to get, and you don't get that, you might be disappointed. If you wanted to see X character, Y character, Z, but whatever, and they don't show up, you're disappointed, right? You go into the movie, take it as it is. You'll enjoy it. And I'm sure anybody watching this has already seen it, because again, there will be spoilers, and there were spoilers. That was just a great time at the movies. And since I've gone to those movies, I've been to the movies 2 or 3 times since then. And I'm going tonight. That's what happens when you have a good time at the movies. You want to go back. We're not going to talk about how many trailers they show before movies. We're not going to talk about all the problems with the movie theaters. Go to support your local theater. Go to support your local businesses, right? That's the only way that you're not going to have to drive 50 minutes to go to the theater next time. So when you're complaining, that's okay. The trailers, they're trying to stagger stuff to try and trick us into coming early. But at the end of the day, you go there, the trailers are playing. That means you can time it out. They do the Coca-Cola advert for AMC where it's the couple sitting in the seats, but they're like in the movie, and then Nicole Kidman comes, right? So if you get to the movie early enough, or on time, according to the showtime, then you're going to see those cues to be able to get up and go to the bathroom one last time, or refill your popcorn or what have you, right? So there are ways to kind of circumvent the system in that regard. As far as the post credits are concerned, the mid credit scene was like kind of like a little micro documentary about the Fox Marvel movies back in like the early 2000s, not necessarily so much the recent ones. And it was all these guys have been trying to play these characters and do justice by it. And I'm really glad they were able to separate themselves from the Bryan Singer aspect of things where, oh, you can't put them in comic book outfits because nobody will take it seriously. Like, you started your movie off in a concentration camp. I think people will take it seriously, but I digress. So I would say, as far as enjoyment, 10 out of 10. As far as a movie as a whole, I'm closer to an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Um, and I think that a little bit of my expectations tempered that the second time I saw it. The movie got better the second time. The movie's I'm assuming I'm gonna like it even more the third time, as you're hearing more jokes, because people are not, you hear more things when people aren't laughing, and sometimes they were laughing so hard I didn't catch the next joke. They were rapid fire with it. It was really good. I'm really glad it didn't feel like the writer's strike hampered Ryan Reynolds too much. Doesn't feel like we're gonna get another Deadpool movie, which sucks, but man's gotta do what he's got to do to keep his family. So I will say, it's not for everybody. The gore, the violence, the sex jokes, the homoeroticness, all these types of things might not be for everybody, and you might not enjoy it. But I loved it, and I cannot wait to own it and watch it on repeat and watch it on repeat and watch it on repeat. Heck, I might even go back to the theater to see it. So, guys, please let me know what you guys thought. I look forward to hearing whether you agreed with me, disagreed with me. Doesn't matter. It's all experiential. It's all an opinion. It's art. It's subjective. It's something that I love, that when somebody has something different to say about it, we get a full aspect and a full spectrum of people's personality and what the movie does and does not have to offer. So please leave your comments below. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. I'll see you guys next time.